Welcome to another edition of Dungeons and Social Distancing with Nerdarchy.
Today we're going back into Legends of Runeterra, this time with the subclasses for League of Legends.
Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Steve, and as usual, I'm joined by this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
If you're looking to get more D&D videos, stab that subscribe button, or gamble on missing out.
And if you want more Nerdarchy videos, make sure you hit that notification bell, or those Nerdarchy videos will be stealthing away from you.
Today we're going to talk about the crossover between D&D Beyond and Runeterra. Specifically, we're going to talk about the subclasses that you can find in Chapter 2, Heroes and Scoundrels of Bilgewater. This is really cool, and you can find this particular product for free over on D&D Beyond, who happens to be our sponsor. These are great options for your 5e D&D game, but there's so much more to find over on the website. It's a huge database of everything official for Dungeons and Dragons, and some things that are not, like this product.
They've also got a great new feature with their dice, where you can literally roll your dice for damage, attack rolls, saving throws, all that stuff right there on your character sheet on D&D Beyond. It's a great feature. It keeps you, engrossed. Definitely want to look into that, but they've also got all of the free content, the videos, the articles, everything that's in the SRD, and even this product. So you definitely want to use D&D Beyond. We do, so why don't you?
With that, we're going to jump into it. The first subclass we get is for the Barbarian Path of the Depths. I'm super excited about this one. It refers to several different characters in League of Legends. Most of the ones came after I stopped playing, but the one that was there when I was playing was Nautilus, which was awesome. So if you want to rebuild that particular character, I'm pretty sure you would choose Path of the Depths. Encounters with terrors of deep can break the minds of the weak-willed, but some forge their trauma into weapons never seen above the waves. The barbarian who walks this path has survived such an encounter and has gained extraordinary abilities from the experience. So right there, you got the flavor text. We're going to jump into it. At third level, you're going to get the ability Gift of the Drowned. When you adopt this path, you gain a swimming speed equal to your walking speed and gain the ability to breathe underwater. So, anytime you get these, they're okay. They're almost ribbon abilities until you need them, and then they're super useful. So it just really depends on what kind of game you're playing. But if you're playing in Bilgewater, this seems like it would be very useful.
A swimming speed is nothing to, shake a stick at. It is awesome if you're going to play any kind of game where there's going to be around water. So a nautical-themed game, swimming speed is super helpful. It allows you to do so many things. Breathing underwater, that seems a little bit more of a flavor thing than an ability, unless you happen to really be doing a lot of adventures, down below the waves, because that's gonna make a big difference. So getting both of them as early as third level, super helpful, super thematic. Next up, you're going to get Dredge Line. Starting when you choose this path at third level, you manifest an extra appendage when you enter Rage. This weapon can appear as a Kraken Tentacle, a Giant Anchor, Preternatural Jaws, or something else based on your history. As a bonus action, you can use this appendage to strike at one creature of your choice that you can see within 15 feet. The target must succeed on a strength save, DC is 8, your proficiency mod in strength, or be pulled 10 feet in a straight line towards you. So it's definitely some battlefield manipulation. It's not doing any damage. So fun, thematic, helping you get those extra hits in.
Yeah, you can't use it on the first round because you're going to need it to rage. So overall, thematic and fun for third level, not super powerful. Sixth level, we get Ghost Water Dive. You can burst into water, then materialize somewhere else as an action. You magically teleport along with an equipment you are wearing or carrying up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. Before or after teleporting, you can make one attack as part of your action. Moving in this way doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So you basically get like a Misty Step that you can do as an action. You can combine it with a single attack.
I have an issue with a unlimited amount of teleports, especially for a barbarian who's not, very magically inclined. So like you burst into water, then materialize elsewhere as an action. Magically teleport along with any equipment you're wearing and carrying up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. There are so many ways to to do this. You don't have to be raging. There's no use mechanic for anything beyond doing as an action. And you get to be able to make a single attack as part of it. Man, I would be okay with this if there were a use feature like, oh, you can do this a number of times, per day or even per rest, equal to, a con mod. I just think this ability could be easily exploited.
It can be. It doesn't bother me. This character is going to excel at exploration. They're going to be able to get around, get over things fairly easy. They are going to be a mobile nightmare on the battlefield. When you can combine that with their pull, that's going to make them a lot more effective and efficient. But you know what? I feel like this kind of makes up for the weakness of their third level abilities. While I like their third level abilities and they're fun, as far as barbarians go, I'm like, I'm not overwhelmed by them.
All right, Manifestations of the Deep. At 10th level, you can manifest additional adaptations of the deep. Select one of the below adaptations you manifest. During a long rest, you replace your chosen one with a new option from the list. So the first option is Eyes the Deep. You gain the ability to use echolocation. When you do so, you cast the True Seeing spell without using a spell slot or material components. After you cast a spell in this way, you can't use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. Arms of the Deep. While raging, you may now manifest 2 magical appendages, which may be tentacles, chains, anchors, animating, rigging, or another grasping arms of your choice. When you use your Dredge Line ability, you can attempt to grapple with each of your appendages. We also have Heart of the Deep. Now on your turn, you can use a bonus action to gain temporary hit points equal to 1d12 plus your Barbarian level. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can do so again. Soul of the Deep. You're now immune to all effects that would cause you to be charmed or frightened. And lastly, Armor of the Deep. Your skin hardens, increasing your armor class by 1.
So I like options, and you get a bunch of them here. So I'm pretty cool with this, and nothing is like super, super powerful. Again, I think this helps mitigate that 6th level ability.
I like this. I feel that, having choices that are changeable definitely kind of goes with the concept of, the water, the tide, things move in, things move out. Things are definitely changing. So to me, that fits, that works. And if you have a party that is forewarned with what kind of things you're going to be going into, it's like, all right, we're going into, a battle with vampires. You know what? I'm going to take Soul. I don't want to be charmed or frightened by these damn vampires. Or, I need extra hit points for this fight against the Tarrasque. Heart of the Deep. Yeah, extra hit points. This is great. So being able to go through and make those kind of changes based on what might be your next adversary, super helpful.
Yeah, Armor of the Deep. I like the idea of waking up encrusted in barnacles or coral the next morning, and your armor class increases. So I feel like there's some fun things going on here. Our final ability is Depth Charge. At 14th level, when you use your Ghost Water Dive ability, you can choose to appear with a wave of tidal force. When you appear, all creatures within 10 feet of you must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d6 force damage and is knocked prone. On a successful save, a creature takes half damage and is not knocked prone. So this is nice. You burst in front of them, do a little bit of damage. Maybe you knock them down, and now you have advantage to take that one attack against them, and you don't have to use your reckless attack in order to do it.
I don't have a problem with a 14th level ability that allows you to do some extra damage. The 3d6 force damage might be, equivalent to, the amount of damage you might be doing, or it might even be a little bit less if you're using, the extra attack feature. So this is kind of a bit of a mitigating circumstance. You just happen to be able to be taking that on multiple creatures because it's all within 10 feet. So you could definitely be, washing out a number of, small minions, through doing this. Super awesome. But again, that unlimited number of times of using that Ghost Water Dive, means that this could then be, further exploited, attacking a lot of things over and over again.
It doesn't sound like I'll be playing a Path of the Depths Barbarian in your game as is.
I have issues with it, but it's, it's out there. I won't be happy with it. And if somebody's like, hey, look, this is what I want. All right, I'll play that. I'll allow it played. I'm just not. I think that ability is too powerful, and I'd have to find ways to, put some extra protections of anti-teleportation things in the game to kind of like nerf that sometimes. But I tend to be okay with allowing stuff that's put out there. To me, I just think that particular ability is too powerful for a barbarian subclass.
Canoloth, Ted. Canoloths, Ted. Canoloths everywhere. That's the secret.
Martial. Next up, we have the martial archetype, Renegade. What defines a renegade is not simply the weapon they wield or the ways they fight. A renegade, above all else, is a fighter of sly charm and swagger. With brash cockiness in spades, renegades build their own custom firearms to perfectly suit their own larger-than-life personalities. Particularly well-funded renegades may even have personalized hex-tech weapons, but such folk are rare among the scoundrels of Bilgewater. Don't mistake their boasting for an empty facade. Look who's underestimated a renegade's flashy gunplay tend to wind up dead.
Before you jump into that, Ted, one of the things, so this is the perfect archetype if you want to build Misfortune, Caitlyn, Graves, maybe even Gangplank. This is the archetype you're going to want to choose.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, saw this as Misfortune. It's been a long time since I've played, so I definitely recognized, Misfortune, and they've actually got her in some of the artwork that's listed for it. The first thing we get is Scoundrel's Wit. Starting at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with 2 of the following skills: Deception, Persuasion, or Sleight of Hand. So getting a fighter subclass that's giving skills, I super like. Fighter is one of those classes that don't typically get a whole lot of skills, so definitely down for that.
Well, this subclass in particular, charisma is very important to you, so it is nice to get access to some of those charisma-based skills, and also it kind of fits with the way this character operates. So the main thing you're going to get here at 3rd level is your gunfighter form. Additionally, you choose this archetype at 3rd level. You begin constructing a custom firearm that suits your unique brand of renegade style. This process begins by selecting a form upon which to base your weapon. Choose one of the following options. Each form grants you a new ability and unlocks certain upgrades that you can add to your weapon at higher levels. Pistolier. Favoring speed and style over raw power, a renegade who adopts the Pistolier form wields a small flintlock handgun. As an action on your turn, that you can target a creature within 30 feet and shoot, make a ranged attack, or roll against the target. You are proficient with the attack, and on a hit, the attack deals piercing damage equal to a die 6 plus your dexterity modifier. The number of shots you can fire during a single action increases when you reach higher levels in this subclass. 2 shots at 5th level, 3 shots at 11th, and 4 shots at 20th. The shots can target the same creature or different creatures. Make a separate attack roll for each. You're also going to get a sniper option. Armed with a large 2-handed firearm, a renegade who adopts the sniper form can inflict massive damage with a single shot. As an action on your turn, target a creature within 120 feet and shoot. Make a ranged attack roll against the target. You're proficient with the attack, and on a hit, the attack deals piercing damage equal to a die 10 plus your dexterity modifier. You deal an extra damage while using this form when you reach higher levels, dealing 2 die 10 plus your dexterity modifier at 5th, 4 die 10 at 11th, and 6 die 10 at 20th level. So, we have choices. Some things are going on here. They made a very specific and distinct decision to not make this a weapon. It's actually an ability. So that means it's going to operate differently. Yes. It's not going to interact with a lot of other features in the game because it is not a weapon.
Yeah, so I thought this was pretty interesting. When I look at the sniper form, that is a lot of damage. At 20th level, throwing out 6 die 10, all linked to a single attack as opposed to you make multiple attacks as per the Pistolier. I definitely thought that was an interesting design choice. And, I think there's a lot of times that I think, while the Pistolier, you're going to be both of these options are going to rely heavily on dex. If you roll poorly, all right, I got nothing for that round. But, when I look at, that sniper choice, that means, all right, your turns are going to go by much faster than fighters that would, typically okay, well, I got to make 4 attacks over here. Sniper's one and done, man. I dig it. and the amount of damage that they're swinging, I'm pretty happy.
There's a lot of things that come into play with that sniper. There's abilities from their upgrades that we're going to get into later that makes it a big deal. Action surge makes it a big deal, and crits make it a really big deal. But at the same time, it is kind of all or nothing.
I mean, imagine rolling 12 die 10 as your shot for that round. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So next up is weapons of choice. Though a combination of salvaging stolen pieces of arcane technology and sheer rakish ingenuity, you can customize your firearm with various upgrades. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, pick one minor upgrade and one major upgrade from the firearm upgrade list at the end of this subclass. If an upgrade has a prerequisite, you must meet that in order to benefit from the upgrade. You gain one additional minor upgrade at 5th and one additional major upgrade at 10th.
Yeah, so the upgrades are a lot of fun, and we'll get to them in a bit. So 7th level, we get Cunning Shot. You learn to exploit a foe's weak spot, even if they appear to have none. The damage dealt by your firearm, including damage dealt via firearm upgrades, ignores resistances and immunities. This is super strong. This is really good. This is way better than making your item a magic item or a magic attack. It just ignores resistances and immunity. That's hot.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Grin and Bear It at 10th level, you can brace yourself in the heat of battle, even when gravely wounded. When you use your second wind feature, your AC gains a +1 bonus, and your movement speed increases by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Very, very thematic with, someone who is, designed to be more, rakish and swagger. It's like, all right, no, that didn't hurt. I'm just gonna, keep moving on. And, being able to move more on the battlefield is never a bad thing for a fighter.
Yeah, I mean, that second wind is a great short rest ability. It can be a little lackluster at times with your bonus action, because it's, it is only a die 10 plus your level. But, this, gaining a little extra armor class and movement makes it a little more thematic, a little more fun. I'm digging it. So next up, we have Right Gun for the Job. 15th level, your skill with firearms can adapt to any situation. When you finish a long rest, you can replace any of your firearm upgrades with different ones. Though you cannot make more than 2 major upgrades equipped at a time, you still need to meet the prerequisites for the upgrade to benefit from it. So basically, it's kind of cool, the idea that you're tinkering with your gun during your long rest and making adjustments because something, a different battle is coming up. I like that. I think it's fun.
So 18th level, we get Light 'em Up. You learn to channel the volatile force of your firearm's black powder into a single concussive blast. As a bonus action, you can either throw or set down a small explosive. If thrown, the explosive has a range of 30 feet and detonates immediately on impact. If set down, the explosive can be detonated remotely from up to 60 feet away as another bonus action. When detonated, each creature within 15-foot radius of the explosion must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 12 die 6 force damage on a failure and half as much on a success. The DC of the saving throw is equal to your firearm upgrade DC. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a short or long rest. I like the fact that, you're giving the fighter a blast radius option. You've already been building this concept of, hey, I'm already playing with explosives and firearms and what have you. Makes total sense to me for them being able to make a bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's something, it's a different option. It's high level. So this is a really hard-hitting fighter. It might be a little bit too good. I don't know. I'd have to see it in play. But next up, we have our upgrades, which starts with our firearm upgrades. Save DC is equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. Now, I consider this little bit here, this one line out of this whole thing, to be kind of a little bit of a mitigating factor. As a fighter, to need a good dex and a good charisma, you now need essentially 3 stats, in my opinion. Because you're going to want to have a high constitution as well. If you're wearing armor, you're going to have strength requirements. So you probably are going to skip heavy armor.
If you're going with a high dex, then I imagine you're not really as concerned with the higher tier armor because you want to max out that dexterity to 20. So I imagine this is more of a dex based rangery roguey kind of build than a the full-fledged, I want to stack on as much, armor as possible kind of.
Yeah, which kind of mitigates some of the strengths of the fighter, in my opinion. So, but definitely it's going to be a factor and it's going to show in the play style. So now we get into our minor upgrades. Blade and Black Powder is our first one. This is only available for a pistolier form. You create a matching blade to accompany your firearm, rendering you a deadly opponent in both melee and ranged combat. Being within 5 feet of a hostile creature doesn't impose disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls. Additionally, when you use your action to shoot using your gunfighter form, you can use your bonus action to strike at a creature within melee range. Make a melee attack roll. The attack roll uses your dexterity modifier, and you are proficient with the attack. On a hit, the attack deals slashing damage equal to die 6 plus your dexterity modifier. And here, this also brings up another point that makes me think of a mitigating factor is you may not be able to interact with a lot of the fighter feats that you would normally take with your guns because they're not actual weapons. So that's also something that kind of pulls them back.
That is entirely true. The other upgrade is Caliber Net. By repurposing some salvaged Hectex parts, you equip your gun with an arcane net meant to trap opponents. As an action, choose a creature within range of your firearm. The creature must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained. At the end of each of its turn, the target can repeat the saving throw, ending the effect on a success. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest.
So this is kind of cool. It just gives you a control option.
I look at it as literally like, okay, you are building an attachment that, you pack this net into, the gun and, you fire it once, you catch the dude. After it's caught, regardless of what happens, you have to kind of repack this thing. So, that's what you do during your rests.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the Caitlyn ability from League of Legends. Collateral damage is for our sniper form, is the prereq. You alter your ammunition to have explosive capabilities. When you hit a target with a successful attack from your firearm, all other creatures within 5 feet of the target must succeed a dexterity saving throw or take a die 6 piercing damage. Again, this is cool. We're getting some area of effect. It's not a lot. It's save or nothing. But, it's an option that you now have as a fighter.
I dig it. I got no problems with that one. We got Crosshairs. Prerequisite is 5th level. You equip your firearm with a targeting mechanism. If you haven't moved this turn, you can aim down your sights as a bonus action, reducing your speed to 0 and granting you advantage on all your attacks made using your gunfighter form feature until the end of your turn. This kind of mirrors the rogue's ability of, they altered the cunning action to add aim. I am not fond of, aiming as a bonus action.
Although you do have to give up your movement to do it as well.
This one, you do have to give up your speed, which, aim as a bonus action for rogues did not have that option. So having a speed reduced to 0 to do this, and you give up your bonus action, is a little bit better. But, it's only a prerequisite of 5th level. So if you have your gunfighter form, it's one of those things like, well, I'm making, 3-4 attacks at higher levels. I'm going to get advantage on all of them. That's pretty harsh. So I'd allow it, but, it's definitely very powerful.
So next up is Double Barrel. This is the sniper form. This is the one that I think is pretty strong. You also have to be 5th level. You add a second barrel to your firearm when you use a gunfighter form. You shoot twice during a single action instead of once. The shots can target the same creature or different creatures. Make a separate attack roll for each shot. Because the fact that a weapon attack scales, now you can do it twice at 20th level. 6 die 10 twice. Very nice. I would absolutely always want this one for sure.
Yeah, this is a make it or break it for your sniper form, and again teeters on that edge of is this obviously the designers put this all in there, but being able to fire twice for 6 die 10 damage every round at 20th level, is that too powerful? I mean, there's no equipment cost for any of this stuff, unlike some of the other class things that have come in the past. So I don't know. It's still a pretty potent thing if you ask me. And we were only in the minor upgrade section, so so the last one up is Smoke Screen. As an action, you alter the firing mechanism of your gun to release a burst of ash and smoke. This cloud forms a 10-foot cube centered on a point of your choice within a firearm's range, spreading around corners, and the area covered by this cube is considered heavily obscured. The smoke lasts for 10 minutes and cannot be dispersed. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest. As it stands, I don't have too much of a problem with it, but a smoke lasting for 10 minutes and cannot be dispersed. Unless you are creating a device that is constantly going off for 10 minutes, like a flare kind of thing. That's the only way I see how it's like, oh, well, a strong wind comes in and pushes it away, but you just fill it back up again. I'm just trying to envision.
It's the Graves ability from LOL. And it is a canister when in the game. So it could work that way. It is weird the way it's worded, but it's not strong at the same time. I like and find this lackluster all at the same time. You're doing it once per rest. It's a 10-foot cube. It's not huge. There's no other effect other than it obscures that 10-foot cube. So there might be some cool and interesting ways to use it in the game. But frankly, compared to the other choices that you have, I don't see this getting chosen very often.
But the fact that you get extra, choices, and whatnot, it's possible for someone to pick it.
So major firearm upgrades. Here's where we're going to get to some really cool stuff. So barrage. As an action, you can fire a barrage of bullets. Each creature in a 15-foot cone originating from yourself must make a dexterity saving throw, taking piercing damage equal to 3d10 plus your dexterity modifier on a failure and half as much on a success. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. It's an action. It's not that much damage. The area is not that big. This is definitely the Graves ability that he does. So it makes sense. Totally cool with this one.
Oh, I think Misfortune had a similar area effect thing as well, where she just fired multiple times.
Hers was way better. It's like, and further.
Oh, okay. Double up when you hit a creature with a successful ranged attack with a firearm. You can immediately cause the bullet to hit another creature within 15 foot of the original target. The second target takes piercing damage equal to your dexterity mod, minimum of 1. You can direct a bullet in this way a number of times equal to your charisma modifier and regain all expended uses after a short or long rest. So, a small ricochet, not fantastic. I don't necessarily think that this really is worth a major upgrade. I think that, is less powerful than some of the minors.
I look at it as being kind of cool to maybe combine with some of some of the minors, like the sniper one where you're doing area of effect. So, and then this, so that's going to increase your damage by a bit. It's definitely a way to add more damage. Sure. You max everything out. It's another 25 points of damage spread out. And every short rest, you can only use it 5 times, if you're maxing out your dexterity. So there might be better choices, but it's like you said for the smoke can, it's an option.
Yeah.
So next up, we get a lightning round. You equip your firearm with a volatile piece of stone hex tech, allowing you to release a piercing bolt of electricity as an action on your turn. The lightning fires from you in a straight line. It's 1 foot wide, 30 foot long. Each creature in the line must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 3d8 lightning damage on a failure and half as much on a success. Can't use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. So, we get a tiny lightning bolt. So it changes up the type of damage you can do, which doesn't matter quite as much for this archetype because you ignore immunity and resistances. But if there's a vulnerability, it might be useful.
Indeed. Trial by Fire. As a bonus action, you can charge your weapon with Blazing Force. Until the start of your next turn, whenever you make a successful attack, you deal extra fire damage equal to half your fighter level rounded up. You can charge your weapons this way a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all uses after a short or long rest. So when we look at this, it specifically says you can charge your weapons. So it doesn't have a limitation. So I imagine if you go with the Pistolier, you would be able to be tacking this fire onto your blade if you go with that particular combination as well. So now your blade and your pistol are doing some extra fire damage. It's pretty nice, to be tacking on an extra 10 damage at 20th level to every attack.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. You can use it a limited number of times, but it's a decent ability. I actually find some of the minor upgrades to be better than the major upgrades in my opinion.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that assessment. It's crazy that it's set up that way, but whatever. It is what it is.
This is a way better, in my opinion, gunslinger type character than the other ones we've seen in the past. It might need to be dialed back. I'd have to see them play for a bit, but the abilities are a lot more fun.
Well, I imagine they probably looked the designers for this. We're looking at some of the things that already existed and said, we want to do something that's a little bit different. We want to do something that's going to be over the top, because your characters from League of Legends are larger than life. That they come out, they pop, they do all these grand things. So seeing what was done previously, trying to emulate these larger than life abilities, I imagine that they had this seesaw factor of, okay, how do we want to do this? And while we look at these options as, oh, these are major upgrades and these are minor upgrades, I don't think that they might have been necessarily trying to be like, well, these are the good ones and these are the not as good ones.
Yeah.
But you've got these pools, call them whatever you will, choose the things that you like. There's nothing in this set of subclasses that I would not allow in my games. There's just things that there's a little bit of eyebrow raising at each of them. So,
but for the most part, everything I've seen is fun, right? So,
oh yeah,
I think that trumps a lot of things. Now we have our final archetype for the rogue, Wildcard. Some rogues favor honing their skill and precision. Others prefer a silver tongue. But you've always gotten a kick out of leaving things up to chance. Rogues of the wildcard variety thrive on the high stakes and random thrill of the game table. Armed with cunning cheats and no small amount of luck, this sly gambler live and die by the rules, never keen to simply accept the hand fate deals them. And this is absolutely, totally the Twisted Fate character from League of Legends. Third level, we get an ability called Tricks Up the Sleeve. Your penchant for games has afforded you the ability to subtly manipulate fortune to your favor. When you choose this archetype at third level, you learn the guidance cantrip. Starting at ninth level, it has a range of 30 feet for you, and you can cast it as a bonus action. This is a super cool ability. At third level, it's interesting. It's going to help you with skills, help you probably cheat when you're gambling. But at ninth level, you're going to be able to do a lot more with it, using it as a bonus action and getting range. But even still, like, you're in combat, you're kind of limited to what you're going to use it for anyway. Acrobatics checks, athletics checks, maybe, and that kind of thing. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to break your game.
I think being able to do it as a bonus action, I think in combat, bonus actions are quick. So, somebody might not, be able to focus on, what it is that you're doing because you're doing it that quickly. In combat, I think there might be times where, it might be a little bit exploited. I was actually having a conversation with somebody, with the release of this, and it's like, all right, that is a bit powerful. Again, this is the thing that I raise my eyebrow at for the wild card. But also at third level, you're going to get the wild card's gambit. You gain proficiency with one of the following gaming sets. Dice set, dragon chess set, or playing cards. The gaming set you choose grants your wild card's gambit as detailed below. If you're proficient in the multiple types of gaming sets, you must choose which gambit to use when you gain this feature. You can change your choice of gambit whenever you gain a level in this class. So first up is loaded dice. You gain a pool of d6s equal to the number of d6s you roll for sneak attack. Your pool starts at 2d6 at third, increases to 3d6 at fifth, and so on. When a creature targets you with an attack, you can use your reaction to spend one die from your pool and subtract the number rolled from the attack. You can choose to use this feature after the creature makes its roll, but before the DM determines whether the attack roll hits or misses. Starting at 9th level, you can spend up to 2 dice from your pool at once. Starting at 17th level, you can spend up to 3 dice at once. You regain all expended dice from your loaded dice pool when you complete a long rest. I love these types of things that, mitigate attacks. I think they're super cool and flavorful.
I was just going to say, it only matters if it's close. This one's decent. It's not bad at all. I like it. Now you're going to get into dragon chess, which I am not overly fond of this one.
Your prowess on the chessboard has made you a skilled tactician on the battlefield. As a bonus action on your turn, you can execute one of the following chess maneuvers. You use a bonus action this way a number of times, so you go to your Charisma mod and regain all uses after a long rest. Dragon. Choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The first time that creature makes a successful attack roll before the start of your next turn, they deal extra damage equal to your level in this class. Griffin. Your movement speed increases by 10 feet, and your movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. The benefit lasts until the start of your next turn. Or Sylph. You and all friendly creatures within 5 feet of you have advantage on dexterity saving throws until the start of your next turn. So this one, I think it offers some more options for the, for the battlefield. I don't think it's as fun and thematic as the loaded dice. When you've got this gambler, I think they just wanted to put something in that fit that the dragon chess set, so that you've got all kind of gaming options. But I don't think it really fits the character very well.
No, it's not nearly as good as the loaded dice or the playing cards, which we're going to get into next. Limited use it's a bonus action. As a rogue, your bonus action is very valuable to you, and the things that you can do with it are a little lackluster, especially that Sylph. It's like, oh, let me use one of my uses to maybe be useful next turn.
So playing cards. You have developed a fighting style based around your cartomancy of the Serpent Isles. You have your own deck of enchanted cards and can make their edges razor sharp with a flick of your wrist. If you have not yet used your sneak attack this turn, you can use your action to take one of these cards and attack a creature within 30 feet. The attack roll for this feature uses your dex mod on a hit, and it deals slashing damage equal to 1d4 plus your dex mod. When you roll for damage, look at the number rolled on the d4. The attack gains a random effect based on the number rolled, as detailed in the Wildcard suit table. You can attack using a card in this manner a number of times that you go to your Charisma modifier, a minimum of once, and regain all uses after a long rest. So this is very weird because you're essentially like, hey, I can use a playing card to make an attack that essentially is like a dagger, but it has some extra features. So let me get into this stuff, and then we'll talk about it more in depth. If you roll a 1 on your D4 damage, it's Blade. Roll your sneak attack damage and add it to your Razor card's damage. At the start of its next turn, the target takes additional damage equal to half the sneak attack damage rolled. If you roll a 2, Shackle. Until the start of your next turn, the target's speed is halved. It can't make more than one attack on its turn while its speed is reduced in this way. If you roll a 3, Heart. Roll your sneak attack damage and add it to your Razor card's damage. Immediately regain a number of hit points equal to half the damage dealt. Any excess hit points regained become temporary hit points. Super awesome. And a 4, you get Wild Ace. The card morphs suits depending on the dealer's wishes. Choose Blade, Shackle, or Heart. The card then immediately regains the suit's respective effects. So with this one, because you can technically, make a ranged attack with this, if you qualify for any of the things that would allow you to get sneak attack, essentially 3 of the 4 allow you to add the sneak attack damage to this, so you could technically be doubling up on your sneak attack dice on this, if I read it correctly. So
you read it? You did not. So here's the thing to remember.
All right.
In order to get a sneak attack, here's what you need. You need to be wielding a finesse weapon or a ranged weapon. This is neither of those. But honestly, I can see where the confusion comes in. And many people are probably going to feel the same way. But this technically is not a weapon. You're using an attack, right? It doesn't qualify for those things. That's why it's not a problem.
That's what I overlooked. So this doesn't have as much problem, and in fact, it then offers a little bit of a a beneficial, because then you might be able to get your sneak attack in situations where you wouldn't. Because, technically, again, 3 out of the 4 options, you would be able to then get it. To me, that then makes it even more deadly if every round that you use this feature, you get, the 3. Hey, I get to heal every time I toss this card. But you only get to do it a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, which, as a rogue, Charisma might not be your highest, so you're only going to get this, 1 to 5 times. So not as crazy. And then off air, you and I had kind of agreed that you could give this rogue the ability to have, the deck of cards that is a ranged weapon that they would be able to do this all the time, kind of like a more Gambit-esque style.
Yeah, I mean, because it's more of an
attack.
ability than it is a weapon, I would just let them use it every round, minus the actual, charging up the card and doing the extra effect, because they're literally just,
Right.
in essence, they're throwing a dagger. And the reason why rogues throw daggers and they can then get their sneak attack with the daggers because also happens to be a finesse weapon. Shifting the odds. Starting at 9th level, you are acutely aware of how to quit when you're ahead, vanish in a flash when the odds begin to turn against you. As a bonus action, you can disappear with a dramatic flourish. Each creature within 10 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw, DC 8 plus proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier, taking 4d10 force damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. You then teleport yourself to an unoccupied space you can see with 120 feet of you. The original location. Once you have used this ability, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest. This is a great ability. This is super useful when you just got to get out of dodge. You can only use it once per rest, but when you do use it, it's really good. So I think this is going to be a cool ability for your rogues to play with. For sure.
All right, so I definitely love this ability. Giving the rogue the ability to get out of a grapple when it's like, look, this thing is got such a high grapple score, I got no chance, and being able to get out and be able to do some damage at the same time, I super love it. It's fantastic. 13th level, you're gonna get Twist of Fate. Your mastery over the game table hones your speed and cunning in combat. After rolling initiative, but before the first turn of combat, you can choose to swap places in initiative order with one creature you can see. If the creature is one of your allies, they must agree to swap initiative with you. So it's kind of weird, but like I look at this as like, all right, I want to go before the bad guy, and I happen to roll crappy. You drop that one. I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure that they rolled, better than me. So bam, I'm swapping with them. And it doesn't say anything about having the monster have to agree with you. So, yep, nerds to you.
No, and if you just want to set something up different, with the other players, it just gives you the ability to do that. So it's kind of cool.
So lastly, we have Joker's Wild. At 17th level, your mastery over chance encompasses even your own form, allowing you to exist between potential realities. As a bonus action on your turn, you can take on an incorporeal form, during which you gain the following benefits. You regain the expended power of your Wildcard's features Gambit. Cards, you regain the spent uses of that feature. Dragon Chest, you regain all spent uses of that feature. Or dice, you regain all spent dice. Your movement speed is doubled. You gain resistance to all damage and are immune to the grappled, paralyzed, stunned, and restrained conditions. You can move through objects and creatures as if they were difficult terrain. If you end your turn inside a creature, the creature takes 1d10 force damage and is shunted into an unoccupied space within 5 feet of their original location. The incorporeal state lasts for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest.
This is like the paladin version for a rogue.
That was the thought pattern I had of like, I become awesome, I am great at all of these things. I get these features reset for me. I gain immunities to these kind of conditions. It's just like a big, wow moment for me.
Yeah, it might be the best as far as 17th level abilities go. I mean, Assassinate is, the Assassin's Death Strike is really good. But that being said, like you can use that more often, I believe, than you can use this. This has got to be within the top, 2 or 3 for sure.
For subclasses, definitely, in the tops for abilities, but it is usable once a day. It is refreshing things. It's giving you some things. As a rogue, getting double movement speed is pretty crazy. Resistance to all damage and immunity to 4 different types of conditions.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And also you can walk through walls.
So, yeah, very, very powerful. It doesn't last super long, but, pretty crazy, pretty powerful.
For one combat, you become Uber, right? Essentially. And also you're going to get those reuses of stuff. So that's kind of nice. Again, it's 17th level. How many campaigns even ever see that level anyway? So I don't know that it matters quite as much.
There you go.
But hey, if you want to learn more about League of Legends and D&D crossovers, we did an overview, and you can find that video here.
Are you looking to help support Nerdarchy? Did you know we have a Patreon? Over there, we're creating new products for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons every month.
But that's not all. We do weekly patron-only live chats, monthly giveaways our patrons are automatically entered in, and more.
So until next time, stay nerdy.